Hello and welcome back to the Nameless Podcast. My name is Brad Ryans. Here we'd like to discuss all the hot topics, like, for instance, what will Miss Tara Light's hairstyle look like at YQ 2020? Me personally, I'm a fan favorite of the floating pile of sand. I really think that's a good one. Kind of looks like the screensaver on the Mac, but we will see. But anyways, topic for today is on generosity, which is basically just tithing. That's all there is to that. I'm glad I could clear that up for you.
And we're going to stop right there. Brad, I love you, but you're killing me. If I had to keep listening to that, I probably would have tried to put my head through a wall. Let's start over, shall we? Generosity. We should be generous everywhere we go, whether at school, on the street, in podcasts, and yes, even at work. But what exactly does generosity mean? You ever had one of those terms that, like, you know the definition, but someone asks you to explain it? Like whenever a boomer asks you, what does yeet mean? And you're just like,
Yeet is yeet.
We don't want that to happen with generosity, so we're going to break it down a little bit, okay? Generosity comes from the prefix gen, which means on and on, continuous giving. Generosity is about abundance, which is believing there's plenty enough to go around. Instead of being selfish, generosity asks you to be the opposite. Living generously means that you're trusting God has given you enough time, money, and talent to give it away to others. You see, the best way to start is through tithing, giving 10% of your gifts back to God. But generosity is not a measure of who gives the most money, who's the richest. If that were the case, a lot of us wouldn't be able to be that generous. We'll turn to a story in Luke. Jesus is watching as a bunch of people are dropping off their offerings in a collection plate. Then all of a sudden, in walks this super rich dude. We'll call him Dave. So Dave walks in, and then all of a sudden, he drops off all this money. Now we're talking like more than $5. I'm just kidding. It was honestly more like $500 because Dave is a pretty rich dude. And he drops off his cash, and everyone's like, oh my goodness, that guy just dropped off all that money. Dave, you're my hero. I love you, Dave. Can you sign my fish? But guess who doesn't bat an eye? Jesus. But then in walks a poor widow, and she drops 2 pennies in the plate, and Jesus stops everything, and he announces aloud that this woman has just given more than that man Dave ever could. Dave's probably crying. So what's the difference here? Yes, Dave dropped off more money, but Dave didn't even really miss that because he was getting recognition for it and he was getting people's applause and praise. It wasn't costing him anything. But that woman gave everything she had, and Jesus called it out. The key is that we do not just give, we have to give with a cheerful heart. We don't give something just to get something back. Instead, we give because we know that it honors God. We give knowing that people may never see what we're doing, but God always sees it. And we give because we want to put others first and show others the love of Jesus Christ. It's not about giving money. It's about being generous with your time, your treasures, and your talents. Man, all 3 of those start with T's. It's almost like they did that on purpose. How do we give time? Ever heard the phrase, time is money? It's probably in the Message Bible somewhere. Time is the currency that we use to transact our lives. So we have to learn to budget that time, and we need to start treating our time more like we treat our treasures. God has given all of us talents according to our own abilities, and He expects us to maximize those talents and to use them for Him. You see, God gave us the most generous gift of all, which was His Son. That was a gift that only God could give. We've all been given specific gifts that only we can give. Maybe you're a good singer. Maybe you're a good writer. Maybe you can whistle. Whatever the case is, God has been generous enough to give you a gift so that you may be generous to others. So now we really understand what generosity is. Giving anything above and beyond with a cheerful heart. We should all strive to be more generous every day throughout our daily lives, because you never know who needs to experience your gift.